Hopefully I won't forget that I'm like in the middle of recording. I'm going to keep my calculator on me because we can solve these. Maybe I'll write it down. Solve a right triangle. This is what our notes are for. Jacob, will you write down solve a right triangle? What do you think it means to solve a triangle? Like, yeah, all the sides and all the angles. We should know all the angle measurements and all the side measurements. Does it say that? When you know the large lengths? I don't know. I don't want to write that. Okay, to solve a right triangle, you will, no, I don't like that word. You will have the values for all three sides and all three angles. So it's interesting, now that we have reviewed the Pythagorean theorem and we learned about the trig functions, we need a limited number of these to start out with, and we can start finding the rest. It's kind of interesting. So like I said, we'll just do a couple examples. I don't want to do that one. Okay, let's draw this one down in your notes. So it's A, B, and C. C is the right angle. The capital letters are representing the angles, and the lowercase letters are representing sides. That's common. Also, I think we mentioned this once before. If this is angle C, the side across from it is side C. If this is angle B, the side across from it is side B. Angle A is across from side A. So if they're ever missing some of that, that's what they're talking about. So I'll pause while you draw this. So again, we've got two methods to start solving Pythagorean theorem or sine, cosine, tangent. So if you don't know those automatically in your head, maybe out to the side, put the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. You'll notice they're lowercase because these are the sides. And then my shortcut, sine is opposite sum honoring forces over hypotenuse. Can't always have. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So again, maybe you have these memorized at this point. I don't know. But if not, you'll want these handy. You'll want them close by. Raiden, what would you do to get started on this one? There's a couple different options. He's not sure. Lauren, what would you do? You need to find angle A, angle B, and side C. Which one do you see that you might want to start with? I would too. How do we find C? Is it the Pythagorean theorem or a trig function? So this is the hypotenuse. So we've got 3 squared plus 2 squared equals c squared. So go ahead and solve that one. There's a couple common mistakes people do when they go back to the Pythagorean theorem. So solve this all the way through, then I'll do it, and we'll make sure you didn't make the mistake that some students make. And if you get a decimal, that's actually super common. They're not always Pythagorean triples. Sometimes they are, but not always. Okay, compare with your neighbor. So if there's 3 of you, the person in the middle looks left and right and compares answers. Do you guys 3 compare? 2, 2, 2. You guys have 2 and 2. 2, 2. So compare answers, compare answers. You get to go either way you want. So the part some people forget is this part. They don't take the square root of both sides. They say C is 13. And it's not true. We have to do one more step. I didn't notice that as I walked around, but what is the square root of 13? Did anyone put it in their calculator? I'm going to suggest making them into decimals for this lesson today, because we're going to start putting it as part of the trig, like opposite, hypotenuse, and we're just punching it into our calculator. So I don't see the point today in leaving it as the square root of 13. Okay, so this is 3.6, which makes sense because the hypotenuse is supposed to be the longest. All right. Maddie, what would you do now? We have to find an angle. Do you want to find A first or B first? It makes some students feel better if I put theta over here. I think just because we've done that a lot. So we can do sine, cosine, or tangent. We've got all 3 sides. I've already picked on Cash. Kylie, what do you want to use? No, because we know all the pieces. All right, cosine, theta. And remember, right now theta is A. So if you don't like that, if you want to put an A here, it might be easier to keep it straight, but we are finding an angle measurement. We're finding a missing degree. Cosine is adjacent. So this is my hypotenuse. Now I'm looking at my angle A. This one's adjacent. This one's opposite. So cosine is adjacent, which is 2. And hypotenuse is 3.6. How do we find A? Andrew, do you remember? Yes, to separate these two, this is not cosine times A. That's not what it is. It's not a multiplication thing. We do the inverse. So this is where you use the button cosine -1. That's going to cancel these out. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So as a reminder, that button on your calculator is right above cosine. So you push second and cosine, and it will pop up with that -1. And then you can type in the fraction. 2, what was it? 2 over, oh no. 2 over 3.6, yeah? And we should probably round, did it say? Round it to 50, we'll just keep it at 56. Oh, which one are we on? This one? Oh, yeah. I'll have to look at the worksheet to see if it tells you to round to the nearest whole number or what. All right, we found angle A. It's 56 degrees. How do I find B? There's an easy way and there's a long way. Yes, this is a triangle. It's a right triangle. So if this is 90, these two have to be 90. So you can do 90 minus 56. You can do 180 minus 90 minus 56. You could do another trig function. You could say something like tangent of angle B is 2 over 3 and put it in your calculator. But I think solving the triangle, so these 3 together are 180. I would do 180 minus 90 minus 56 is what I would do. I think it's 33, yeah? 4? Okay. On your homework, it's going to make it a lot easier to grade. Once you write things on your picture, if you will come down and make yourself a little answer key, then when I go over the answers the next day, you're not going to be searching all over your picture. Any questions? Could I have gone in a different order? Yes. Could I have used a different trig function? Yes. Could I have found angle B first? Sure. So there's a lot of ways to do it. You have all these things in your toolbox. So as you look over at your neighbors, they're doing it way different than me. That's okay. You'll get the same answers. All right, let's do one more. Let's see if I like that one. Sure, I like this one. Are all of them have a missing hypotenuse? After we do this one, we'll do one with a missing leg. I don't want you to mess up on the worksheet on that one. And then I'll probably give you time to work on it. I think we'll be ready. I'm realizing I had some of your names memorized because of where you sat, and it's throwing me off. I have to rememorize some. Isaac, are you asleep? That is talented. Sam, how did you start this one? There's lots of things you could do. Did you want to find a side first or an angle first? Which one did you find, D or E? Okay. If you decide to start with D, that's fine. Would you have to use sine, cosine, or tangent? Yes, because he knows opposite and adjacent. If you did not do it this way, that's fine. So it's hard, now that we've let you go on your own, it's going to be hard to be like, oh, I did it a totally different way. So hopefully you, actually, I'm just going to let you guys keep going. I'm going to let you finish, and then I'll show you a different way to do it. And I'm not even going to push pause on my video because then I'll forget to start it again.
So wait, you didn't do the answer for, so I did 20 squared plus 21 squared.
You can do that first.
And I got 29.
Mm-hmm.
I square rooted it, I got 29.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I did.
So you're going to get this, well, I have to see. That should be fine, though. It's exactly 29. This is the Pythagorean triple. Who knew? Okay, so Belle says she started out to find D, so she did 20 squared. She did the Pythagorean theorem. 20 squared plus 21 squared equals C squared. What was your big, huge number you got down here, Belle?
841.
Which is shockingly a perfect. And what did you get? 29. I love that. Pythagorean triples are my favorite. So she then was doing cosine, sine, tan, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to finish this one. I was trying to go in order. I have no idea where I left off. Did I pick on you yet, Eric? I don't think so. How do I solve this for D, Eric? How do I separate that tangent from the D? So there's two options. Can I divide by the word tangent, or is this where I use the tangent -1? Yes, those are opposites. This is not a multiplication problem. This is not tangent times D. They're like a couple. So they've got to go through a breakup, this inverse. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. These are opposites. That becomes a 1. What did you guys get for D, angle D? 46.4? I guess we'll just do whole numbers. I don't know. So I would do 90 minus 46. I think that's what I would do. Well, that one's fast. Is that what you guys were getting, even though you did it maybe a different method than Sam and I? Everyone got decimals. We just kind of went to the nearest whole number. So I'm sure we should probably, oh yeah, round to the nearest tenth. We definitely didn't do that. We definitely didn't do that. Okay, let's do one more where you have a missing side, just to remind us how you do that with the Pythagorean theorem. Yeah?
Wait,
Because if we don't round, because if you do it where you solve for b first and you don't round it the same way, then you get a different, like, full number for that.
So we should follow the directions and round. Okay, we will do that moving forward. All right, Lacey, how do I solve for this missing side? GH, no, GJ. If you get going super fast on these, like I'm so annoyed, I want to go through my worksheet as fast as possible, and you put the 109 here, you're not going to get that right answer. So be careful making sure that this is your hypotenuse. It should be the biggest side. And there is a subtraction part to this. So work through this on your own. I'll work through it on the board. Wow. I think this is going to be perfect. I love Pythagorean triples. I'm so much happier. What? G, J is 60. You don't have to find the side first. As long as you've got two sides already, you can use the trig functions to find the angles. So it's just fine. If I do this, though, I can use any of the trig functions. I can choose my favorite. Do you guys have a favorite yet? Tangent. We've done a lot of tangent. I don't know why. It seems like most of the examples are tangents. Haley, wait, I feel like I keep calling the people. Haley, which angle do you want to find first, H or G? Do you want to use tangent, cosine, or sine? We love tangent so much. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. Is your nickname Liza? Like Lizzo? But before her? Yes, Jaden? Okay. All right, Liza, what do I do to solve for H? How do I get rid of that tangent? Yes, these two are not being multiplied, so the inverse is not dividing by tangent. That's just not the inverse on this. The inverse is to use literally the inverse of tangent. And what I do to one side, I have to do to the other, which I don't have any room over here. These cancel each other out. They become a 1h. And type that into your calculator. It's best if you type the tangent -1 first, and then 60 over 91. So second tangent is going to give you that inverse. So we decided we do have to round 33.4. Okay, so I've got H, I've got GJ, And there's a few ways to find angle G. Edwin, how would you find angle G? What do the three angles in this triangle have to equal? Yes, do you remember when they add them together, what they have to be? Where did I get to? Andrew, what do the three angles in the triangle have to add up to be? So it's going to be 33.4 plus 90 plus angle G will equal 180 degrees. So you do some subtraction. I don't know if I'm doing this right. Is that right? Okay. Are we ready?